David and Maceo here. Today we're going to talk about the best gaming headsets that are out there. Maceo is a real-life gamer. We tested 12 pairs of headsets for sound quality, mic quality, and overall design. But before we get into the actual tests themselves, if you want to skip right to our top 3 or bottom 3, check out the description below for the timestamps. Let's dive in.
And hit the subscribe button.
Astro A40.
The box is pretty sick. It's got some nice graphics. Can't tell what any of it is, but...
It's like, how much more black could this be? And the answer is none. None more black.
Tuned for gaming.
We'll see about that. Nice.
That's a lot of rings.
That is quite a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4.
7 to the Dwarf Lords.
It seems a little clunky. The top headband isn't actually too creaky or feels like it's going to crack. It is plastic. Well, they're not uncomfortable by any means.
Pretty thumpy. They could use a little more thump, but everything was well balanced, and it feels like I could wear it all day and not have my ears get exhausted.
Corsair Virtuoso RGB Wireless SE.
Whoa, that's a fancy case.
Wow.
Compared to the other bags, that I would consider that a case.
Okay. Look at how shiny they are.
They are very shiny.
They're just noticeably very different than the rest of them.
There's a little wobble in there. My ears are right against the wall.
Oh, that's not acceptable.
I would say the surround sound wasn't amazing. Low and high end were clear, but there was no thump.
So it had some low end, but it wasn't as good as some of the other ones?
Yep. Any mid-range frequency was really low. They really tried to boost the treble. The music does duck in volume perfectly whenever important audio cue plays.
Corsair Void RGB Elite Wireless. We got ourselves a dongle, a mic condom, as my mom used to call them, a big giant micro USB cable.
It's another unique shaped headset. Pretty balanced, I'd say. It's not overly heavy. It looks like what it weighs. It's got that, again, resin feel plastic that doesn't want to really snap.
It's too loose for me.
It is.
Yeah, I put it on my head and it just slides. If you can go like this and they start to move on your head, it's just, I can't.
The surround sound is pretty average. You can definitely tell the different dimensions. And the high end or low end are very well balanced. Sound a little cheap, but they do the job.
HyperX Cloud Alpha S.
Scrambled.
HyperX has you covered.
Off the rip, they feel great.
So it's got a bag for a case.
It does look pretty clean. I like the matte finish with some shine around the logo. On the head, it feels pretty light. I also like the braided cable for durability. That's really nice.
The surround sound was perfectly smooth. The low end is a little quiet and the impacts aren't outstanding, but the high end is so crisp. The footsteps are so present in the high end, it kind of replaces the need for it in the low end.
Next up, the HyperX Cloud Stinger S. All right. Little action figure packaging here.
Yep.
No case.
That's just obnoxious. A lot of them have had this design with the stainless steel on the outside and the cable running down the middle. If you feel the plastic creaking, you know it's going to snap at some point.
Like a painted on logo on the side.
It's not too shiny like some of the other ones we've seen. Comfortability, it's not great, but it's not terrible. They feel cheap when they're on your head.
Nothing too inspiring about those.
There's not much low-end clarity or real sub, but along with that, somehow there's still a good thump to these, I'm not gonna lie. The impact is good, the sustained low end is not. The footsteps can be confused with the gunshots.
Wow, that's terrible. Logitech G Pro X gaming headset.
Fancy high-end plastic.
Also recyclable.
Another fake leather headband with Pro on top.
Yeah,
they go here, they are. They're light when I put them on. Has a place in my heart with the matte black and the shiny. Just hits home. Okay,
so for me, not enough padding on the top band. So they've taken the buttons off the headphones and put them on
to the wires.
A menagerie of cables.
Some amazing surround sound.
All right.
And an outstanding thump with a good high end. It's not overly sharp and it's not overly dull. It sits pretty well. It was really easy to tell the direction of gunshots, footsteps, and all sorts of different audio cues, which was good to know.
So overall, pretty good?
Yeah, but the low end and high end sit very well together.
The Logitech G432 case? None.
I think they look somewhat cool, but they do look somewhat cheap. It does have a nice stainless steel inner headband. It's very light, and it's very big.
That's not always a good sign if something's very light, but also
and big,
large.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like the train's going down the track, but I don't know if that's a pro.
It definitely sticks to your head, but it is a little too tight in the bottom.
I wouldn't trust these headphones to hold up over time.
It was just a lot of panning back and forth. I didn't get that surround sound feel where everything is I can really tell oh, that's to my front left and that's out back. There wasn't any thump or low end.
Razer Black Shark Pro V2. Nice little snappy cable ties.
It looks great. Another matte black look with the shiny logo. It is very thin, but
That feels solid though, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, you're not going to miss that knob. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of this. This could bend. These could bend. Like, I feel like I could bend these. Okay, yeah.
It's pretty outstanding. The mute switch is pretty terrible.
Ugh.
Yeah. It's a medium size. It's not
Yeah,
overly
medium.
large. Although they're pretty slim. The surround sound was amazing. It was
Okay.
very impressive. The thump and low end were overall amazing. There was like a perfect balance between like a consistent sub, but a good attack and like impact. And the high end was nice and crisp, but it wasn't too harsh, which was nice to
Are
have.
they paying you to say this?
They are not.
Unleash the Razer Kraken Tournament Edition.
Fancy box, as we've seen in other Razer products.
Instead of like an actual switch, it's just like the balance.
They are obnoxiously bulky. Aesthetically, they look pretty nice. Headband, like always, has no padding, but the ears they're on. Terrible.
What's up with these headphone manufacturers and the terrible clicking? There's not a lot of give.
Brady cables, plus. This has that silent click I've been looking for. There was no high end. It sounded like you were in the bathroom at a party. Somehow the steps and gunshots didn't even have a thump. It was just a low rumble. Things like the loadout drop and the precision strike and all these other sound effects, they have a very precise thump, which kind of reverses the whole point of where the thumps should be.
Sennheiser GSP 550 Gaming Series headset.
Another quality packaging job.
Oh, it's got a Dolby switch.
Oh.
Ooh.
Looks very unique. It looks like a military helicopter headset. Quality, it feels pretty good. There is a little bit of play on the sides there. It feels heavy in the right places. It doesn't feel like a cheap light.
It is like super airy. Like I could wear these all day.
If you want something unique, this is the way to go. This looks very interesting.
So it had some decent surround sound and decently balanced lows and highs. The windows, there wasn't a low and there wasn't a high, and the mid-range frequency was a little muddy. The footsteps were also very quiet. There was no thump at all in these headphones. No impact, no thumps anywhere.
SteelSeries Arctis.
I've had better oh, come on.
All right, no case.
No case. It is a bigger size, so it is a little heavy in the ear cuffs themselves. Interesting headband.
Yeah, it looks like it's Velcro. Oh, a little pull-out mic.
Yeah. That's a winner.
Yeah? Yeah, a little give, but not
Yeah, it's
nearly
not
as bad.
as some others. Like, it looks pretty solid. I like the matte colors again. Ear cups have like a hexagonal design to them. The directions were very distinct.
All right.
The lows and highs were pretty well balanced in that audio test. There wasn't much treble or high end, which was kind of annoying, but the low end did make up for that. You could really feel the thumps in some of these. It sounds a little cheap.
The Turtle Beach Stealth 700 Gen 2 wireless gaming headset.
Off the rip, they feel pretty solid. It has an exposed speaker on the inside. There is a thin mesh layer covering it. It looks really modern. Stainless steel accents, along with my favorite matte black. Ooh, yeah, it's not it. My head feels like it's being crushed.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about it.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna fix the actual problem. We're gonna put in a little mesh there. And the result, it's a mesh.
Wow. Everything stayed so well balanced throughout the entire course of listening. And treble is so crisp, but it's not like ear piercing. And the low end has that perfect impact and thump and sub frequency.
Let's talk about the best gaming headsets that are out there right now. We're gonna start with the top 3. Number 3,
Here's your box. Biggest emotion. Pay it forward.
pay it for you. Get on the couch. Number 3 is.
Box is backwards.
Number 3 is.
The Logitech G Pro X.
All right, Smooth. What did you like about these?
The mic was outstanding and had a really full sound with some crispy high ends and some impactful low ends.
Yeah, it's clear that Maceo is the actual expert because he knows which way the boxes are supposed to go, except for one of the product reviews. So anyway, what else did you like about these? Do you like the durability, the design?
Yeah, durability was great. There was a lot of metal on this, but it was still very light, which was great.
Yeah.
Comfortability wise, it was pretty great. It was light, and it didn't feel like it was going to break on my head anytime soon.
That's good. So overall sound quality, good.
Yes.
Overall mic quality,
Outstanding.
overall design.
Decent. It's very similar to the HyperX Alpha S and the Razer Black Shark V2.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we noticed was that 3 of these were in competition for the 3rd slot on this list. It was almost like they were designed by the same company in China, but just had different branding. Like so many of the design elements were so similar. Let's get to number 2. Maceo, put that over there on the side, throw it somewhere. Thank you, David. You're doing a great job back there.
I have Turtle Beach headphones.
Nobody cares. You're on the couch. Number 2.
The Turtle Beach Stealth 700.
All right, what'd you like?
The sound was outstanding. The best sound we've seen in any of these headsets so far by far.
So
But
why is this number 2?
they were so uncomfortable. They weighed 1,000,000 pounds. What did I mess up?
No, it's good. No, you're fine. Keep going.
They were the most uncomfortable pair of headphones or headset I've ever worn. They were just so heavy, but the sound was so good that I would buy these.
You would actually buy these even
yeah.
though they were so heavy?
Yep.
Okay, what if you had to play Call of Duty for like 6 hours straight?
Then I might avoid these. But if you're going for overall sound quality, way to go is right here.
What is the most important thing that you listen for when you're judging the sound quality of a gaming headset?
The footsteps and gunshots should have some impact, and the high end of those should also be clear and not distorted high end, because there's a lot of these headsets that make the high end super distorted and like unclear, and it just sounds terrible.
Number 1, David.
There you go.
Thanks.
Can I get you anything else? Water? Coffee?
Nothing. Thank you.
The Astro A40 headset.
All right, what'd you like? Why is this number 1?
It was very comfortable,
Okay.
and it had some amazing sound and a great mic.
Okay.
Very well balanced all around. Nothing was over the top on any of them, but none of them were terrible.
Okay, I remember when we were ordering all these, you put the Astro A50s in the cart.
I did.
Because we bought all of these headphones ourselves. He put them in the cart and they were more expensive than everything else. So I said, like, well, let's not do that because I'm going to go broke. But if these sound as good as they do, the A50s must also sound pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe in the next one, we'll review the A50s and go real super premium. But I wanted to keep this sort of all, you know, in the same spectrum.
Yep.
Was there anything you didn't like about these?
There was a weird plastic piece on the bottom corner of the earmuff. So over time, if you wear out the padding on the earmuff, you might feel that plastic, but you can order a mod kit with brand new earmuffs.
Interesting. Interesting. So we'll link to that also in the description section below. Those are the top 3. Time to get to
The worst.
the worst gaming headsets that are out there right now. Get that out of here. Number 3 worst. Oh, a Sennheiser product.
Yep. This one hurt to put in the bottom 3.
Yikes. What is it, Maceo? It's your job to read the product.
Oh, this is the Sennheiser GSB 550 gaming headset.
And just to be clear, it's Maceo's job because I screwed up the very first one. What did you like about these? Anything?
The surround sound was great, and they were pretty comfortable.
Okay.
But the mic quality and the sound quality were not the best.
Is that important for a gaming headset, the sound quality?
Very.
And the mic quality?
Yeah.
Yeah. And these were also one of the more expensive pairs, I remember.
They were like $200.
Yeah, I mean, it was like super army type design, kind of a bulky
Helicopter
design.
headset.
Helicopter headset. They definitely went for that. I was not too impressed with the feel of these either.
Yeah, no, they were very cheap. They felt like they could break pretty easily. And the high end on these was just so distorted, it was terrible.
All right, well, but they weren't the worst. Number 2, David.
Razor Gary Sanchez Tournament Edition.
The Kraken.
He's the
yeah.
Kraken. All right. So, what did you not like about these?
The sound was terrible. For me to say there's too much thump, these were way too much. All
This
it
is
was
true.
low end. There was no high end at all. It sounded like all muffled and everything, but the low end was so muddy, it sounded terrible.
Yeah.
The mic on these were pretty great though.
Pretty good mic, but I wasn't a big fan of the remote that came with these. This was one of them that the mic pushes back in. And for a lot of those designs, I felt like it'd be cool if you could do it with one hand, but they weren't stiff enough to be able to do it with one hand, so you kind of have to use 2 hands to push the mic back in.
Very gimmicky, this entire thing.
Yeah, just not a very impressive pair, and definitely the price makes it extra not worth it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the worst.
Logitech G432 gaming headset.
What did you like about these?
What is there to like about these?
Boom. Roasted.
I kind of like the blue color.
Color's cool, but they felt like the cheapest pair of headphones you could get your hands on. They
Yeah.
felt so terrible.
They did feel terrible. I remember these, especially because if you look at this, like the top here, you can see it's this like metal, like one of these things that you can cut your finger on.
Oh, yeah.
It's so sharp, super uncomfortable, feels cheap. What about the sound quality did you not like?
It was just a really muffled high end and a really muffled low end. There was only mid frequencies. There was no impact and there was no clear on the high end.
What about the microphone?
Microphone, there was some weird background noise like rumbles that were very clear. They don't seem ergonomically right.
Yeah, correct. They didn't really go for the whole fits your head thing with these
Yeah, no.
gaming headphones.
And it had a cheap volume knob on the back too.
Yeah, and it was one of those without like any resistance, one of those volume knobs, just like the ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. Some of the buttons on these headsets.
Are terrible.
So, there we have the best and the worst gaming headsets that are out there right now. I'd like to thank Maceo Prey
course.
our resident gamer, for testing all these, playing Call of Duty, doing Dolby Atmos 7.1 surround sound tests.
Yep.
If you want to learn more about our testing methodology, check out the description section below. And David Lynch, you want to say anything about subscribing to this channel?
I'm really liking this new role, just sitting on the couch. Yeah, subscribe, join the channel. Monthly giveaways. We got a whole bunch of great stuff.
We do. Get in the Discord. You're a gamer.
Leave a comment
Hop in the
down-
Discord.
Leave a comment down below about the expensive headphones we didn't buy and why we should have bought them.
Right. And hopefully you heard that. So thanks, Maceo. Good job.
course.
All right. Thanks.